Hey guys, what an interesting week us Space Marine fans have had. In my previous video I shared my thoughts on the newly revealed enhanced chapter tactics, reviewing them and looking into how they related to my Fixing the Legions video. I received a few requests to cover the following releases as well, and to that end, this video will be my thoughts on the Space Marines preview, Scions of Guilliman. But before we get into looking at the Ultramarines preview, I would like to review the new army-wide ability, the Angels of Death Combat Doctrines. It will allow these previews to function as an isolated series, and ensures that we have the context needed for reviewing any subfaction previews. And here we are. But since there was so much revealed in this post, I might as well skim through it and give each reveal a quick take. So, starting from the top, we have the reveal of the Incursor Squad. This is the alternate build from the Infiltrators, as it says here, and the main difference is the Incursor's gun removes the benefit of cover, and their backpacks always ensure they fire their ballistic skills, so they ignore -1 to hit penalties, which is pretty interesting. If that's better than backpacks, which zone out enemy deep strike, and bolt guns that auto wound on hit rolls of 6, I'm not so sure. But these guys do have some unique abilities as well. They show here the paired combat blades, so these guys are better fighters. And the paired combat blade, actually, if you think back to the Lieutenant in Phobos armor from Shadowspear, he basically seemed to have an Incursor loadout. And the newly revealed Phobos Lieutenant, this guy here, I believe, is definitely of the Reaver type. So it seems that the Lieutenant Phobos armor has different war gear options, or there's two different versions of that unit, to be determined, I suppose. Jumping back to the Incursors, they also have an ability to deploy a mine, which is kind of interesting, zone out enemy pathing. If that mine is actually a placeable unit, or I guess a model, like a spore mine, that could open up some really interesting plays in my book. Okay, moving on, the Impulsor. Yep, it fits 6 or 3 aggressors, which is interesting, because the aggressors, I would like a cheap transport for them, so this might fit the bill. What's interesting is the assault vehicle rule. This is actually really nutty. As long as you don't advance, embarked units can disembark, and I believe that they can still move. They just can't be chosen to charge, which is fine for something like aggressors, right? Yep, it also has different top options. A shield for 4-up invulnerable save. That's huge on a Space Marine vehicle, to get an invulnerable save that high also. That's really valuable on a transport. Yeah, so the Iron Hail Sky Talon array looks like it's probably what this is. Or a missile array. I don't think that's pictured here. Yeah, it's definitely the Icarus Sky Talon, or sorry, the Iron Hail Sky Talon array. Yeah, I might end up going with the missile warheads. That sounds really cool if I grab those. I have a feeling I'm gonna want them for Salamander's aggressors. Just a feeling, I'm not certain on it yet. Oh, and it has an option for an orbital comms array, which will give you that orbital bombardment stratagem in effect, which is, it's neat. Maybe that means it's no longer a stratagem. This thing here, it's cool, I like it. I don't want to like it, and what I mean by that is I don't want to desire purchasing it, but it has really good rules, and this has to do with the combat doctrines as well. But I mean, it can infiltrate with a 12-inch, so even without moving, it has a 12-inch range flamer, which is huge. Absolutely huge. Especially when you consider that screen is usually forward, and flamers are effective against screen, generally. That's a target of choice. It's very interesting. Oh, and they reveal that you can use your pistol in combat, which is a neat little narrative rule. I love the idea of the Dreadnought being tied in combat, and he reaches up for his heavy bolter-sized pistol. It's hilarious. Okay, now we have infiltrator squads all the way down here, and the big reveal is that, yeah, the comms array. So instead of a Helix Adept, which is the baby apothecary, you could have a comms specialist, essentially. I guess it's similar to a Vox guy in an Imperial Guard infantry squad. But instead of orders, he would allow you to get your rerolls from your Phobos Captain and Phobos Lieutenant. This is very interesting. I could easily see a Raven Guard thematic list style, where you have 2 forward squads of infiltrators holding down objectives, popping smoke for that +1 to cover save, -1 to hit, and -2 with cover. And if they wanted to fight, they could easily leverage this, which is really, really, really cool, and the Captain and Lieutenant wouldn't have to be near them. Okay, next you have Eliminators, and they preview here, that all the bolt rifle rounds are up to strength 5, which is substantial, right? Now you have far better odds of wounding Astartes targets. I should say Space Marine equivalents. And they preview the last fusel. This is very attractive. Anytime we have a last cannon, like an anti-tank weapon that is flat, consistent damage, I think it's the desirable choice. I used to use a lot of last cannons in my Salamander's army, and it would kill me that I would make it all the way towards wounding, hitting, wounding, they fail to save, and then I roll low, like not even getting 3 damage, right? Happens more often than you think. So this is very attractive. To be determined. I don't want to buy any of these new units until I know what the Salamander's toolkit is for me personally, but I really like the general buff to the rifle, and as well as getting a confirmed stat profile for the last fusel is welcome. Oh, and they have a cool ability so that you could deny enemies from charging you, essentially, unless they really orchestrate something elaborate, like 2 charges from 2 different sides or something. And if that's the case, they earned it. Okay, here we are. This section here just notifies that Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Dark Angels are getting access to these new units, which is cool. It'll be a free PDF, which is lucky for them, because we have to buy our Codex and Codex supplements. Okay, so here we are, Angels of Death Combat Doctrine. This is absolutely huge, I think, because, well, what's the strategy? What's the strategy for playing Space Marines right now? It's castle up with your HQs, and if you want to be really nasty, you can put a banner in there as well, so you can shoot before you die. And that's kind of, by and large, what we got. But now we have this, the Angels of Death Combat Doctrines, as declared in the Codex Astartes, which is really cool and thematic. I like it a lot. The way it works is, you start in the Devastator Doctrine, which improves heavy ingrained weapons AP by 1. Then, when you choose at the beginning of your movement phase, it says here, yep, at the start of any of your turns, you can switch to the Tactical Doctrine, and then again the Assault Doctrine, right, on a subsequent phase. So there is it appears to be a linear one-way flow. I don't think you can go backwards and forwards or skip. I think you have to go through each one. But this is what I was talking about with that, what is it called? A tactical suit? A tactical suit? Oh, Invictor Tactical War Suit. Yeah, so this guy infiltrates. You're in the Devastator Doctrine. And now he's got a 6-shot autocannon that's AP -2 all of a sudden. Just like that. It's massive. Or the Flamer, just as well, right? Because it's heavy, and that's the qualifier. I think this has significant ramifications, because it reframes a lot of units, like things like Reavers, which are kind of Like, I have a problem with Reavers. I've considered even doing like a what's the deal with for Primaris Reavers, because like what are you supposed to do with them? But now all of a sudden, with Shock Assault, your standard Reaver has 3 attacks on the charge, and now those 3 attacks are AP -1. It's far more valid for it to, well, be a legitimate threat, right? Yeah, and rapid fire as well. You know, we already know how good bolt rifles are, right? Now they can be AP -2, just for free. I mean, it's not for free. It's a new mechanic, but my point is, this is so much better. This system here is so much better than taking those problem units, like I said, Reavers, and just making combat blades or assault marines and chainswords. Instead of buffing them to -1, we now have a new game mechanic in our toolkit for us to manipulate and play with, and that's far more enjoyable for a gaming system. So I really like. My point is, I'm really digging these Angels of Death combat doctrines, and now that I've provided context, we can now begin reviewing the Ultramarines preview. Alrighty, so here we are in the Ultramarines preview, or technically, Space Marines Scions of Guilliman. First off, really digging these customized banners. A little bit goes a long way here. As far as a blog post goes, I appreciate the extra effort. But on the topic of extra effort, this trailer, pretty sure Jonathan Banks is doing the voice work for it, and I believe he's the person who did the readings for the Dark Imperium series of books. Well, the audiobooks, that is. Perfect fit, because in my mind anyways, I associate him with the Ultramarines. And just like, man, I watched this video and I get chills, like legitimately, watching it. And, you know, spoiler, you know, I'm recording this after the fact, but I have watched the White Scars one as well. Just fantastic. I'm so looking forward to the subsequent chapter releases, just for these videos alone, even if there were no rules involved. These are special. Anyways, let's get into what we came here for. We learned about who the Ultramarines are, and we got a really nice bit of photography here featuring, you know, the new Impulsor, the Invictor Tactical Warsuit. Look, there's Calgar over there. How cool! I don't think there's anything Easter eggy here. But okay, this is a perfect example of why I wanted to provide context to the combat doctrines, because here we have the Scions of Guilliman. It doesn't look like it's a stratagem anymore. Seems like it's just an ability, but it's pertaining specifically to the Ultramarines. And we can see that while the tactical doctrine is active, models with this ability that moved in your movement phase but did not advance or fall back can make attacks with ranged weapons in the following shooting phase as if they had remained stationary. This is huge. Firstly, what this tells me is that every chapter is going to have their own specialized quirk with regards to one of the combat doctrines that are available. And for the Ultramarines, it's tactical doctrine. And what this gives them the ability to do is, here I have their Codex, the new Codex Discipline chapter tactic. So they can already shoot in a turn in which they fell back. So Scions of Guilliman does not stack with that ability. But what it does do is, in the tactical doctrine, where rapid fire weapons become AP -1, now they can move and claim Bolter Discipline, which is massive. Ultramarines can move 6 inches and have AP -2 bolt guns with the Bolter Discipline volume. That's overwhelmingly powerful, at least in my eyes. What it also means is that they can move and shoot heavy weapons as well without penalty, which is massive. And it doesn't say specifically about heavy weapons and the penalties associated with them. It says shooting as if they remain stationary. This means you can disembark and use heavy weapons. What this also means is you can disembark 3 aggressors, or 5 if you want to fit them in a repulsor, and shoot twice with your aggressors, Like, this is unbelievable. Like, the amount of value and twist this, the reframing of this ability, I guess I could say. I'm really digging what this is about, and I can't wait to get my hands on this codex. Just take a look myself. Okay, scrolling down, another huge reveal. It seems like, I mean, I don't want to, fingers crossed. I think every chapter is getting a psychic discipline as well, because here we can see the Ultramarines librarians have the Indomitus discipline. So that means if you play Ultramarines, you have Librarius, Obscuration, I believe, the Phobos one, and now you have Indomitus as well, which is, I mean, this power as an example is fine. It's an offensive power that's good against, low leadership, high volume units, like Poxwalkers or something, right? But I'm just really excited for what it means. I guess Black Templars probably wouldn't get a psychic discipline because they don't like psychic powers, but very interesting. Okay, we have a relic. So this was a relic from the original codex, and it looks to be unchanged. Well, the keywording is different. So now a captain or chapter master. So if you upgrade your chapter master, he can have it too. I wonder if there was a FAQ regarding this. I can't recall exactly, but it seems to be unchanged. Yeah, I'm just skimming the text here. Seems to be unchanged. And we have, okay, so this is very interesting. So here's an example of a special issue war gear. So there seems to be, in these codex supplements, a list for relics for the chapter, if you play Ultramarines, and a specific set of special issue war gear for successor chapters. And maybe the core chapter gains access to that as well. Which, man, I'm just really excited for the amount of love the chapters are getting. I mean, I've made multiple videos on this, and it's so heartwarming. It's a weird word to use when talking about Warhammer and rules, but I'm really digging this. Okay, as far as this relic goes, pretty awesome. It tickles my salamander brain. I wish I could have this relic. It's always overcharged, no risk of killing yourself, and 2 shots. Wicked. Okay, we have an example of a stratagem. This is a new one, Tactical Expertise, and it pertains to the Tactical Doctrines, so we can confirm that, of course. We have this new mechanic in our toolkit, being the Combat Doctrines, and of course stratagems would play with that. Until the start of your turn, when resolving an attack with rapid-fire assault weapons, unmodified 6 rolls, increase the AP by 1. So it's like Storm of Fire, but it's army-wide for 2 CP. And it's, well, army-wide for rapid-fire assault weapons. For the whole turn. Until the start of the next battle round. So even for your Overwatch on the opponent's phase, yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool, can't complain. And they say, believe it or not, there's loads more in the new supplement, including specific objectives, the background section, name generator. I love this. I want a name generator for all the chapters. That's so cool. And they have the unique characters in the book as well, including the Tyrannic War Veterans, which I believe were an index-only option. So what does that mean for these other chapters? Because the only unit I believe the Salamanders have is Vulcan Histan, and everything else are Forge World characters. I believe. I could be incorrect. But off the top of my head, I believe most of the Salamanders characters are Forge World. Are in the Forge World Index. So does that mean they're all being moved to the Codex? Very interesting. Give me a points reduction on Brayarth, please. Okay. Yep, they have their ability here. The Tyrannic War Veterans reroll hit and rolls on Tyranids. Very fun. Oh, and we have Tigurius. Primarisified. Tigurius Prime. He has his Hood of Hellfire, and he has a buff to add 1 to the roll for denying and psychic tests, which is fantastic, and he maintains his Master of Prescience, which will give you a -1 to hit. or not give you. You can select one friendly model. And that's it. That's it for the Ultramarines preview. And that closes out my thoughts on the Ultramarines preview. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys were able to find my take on these released mechanics insightful, or at least mildly entertaining. Tomorrow I will most probably have the White Scars preview done as well, which will make it far easier to get these done closer to their time of release. If you would like to see more of this kind of content in the future, or want to leave feedback of any kind, leave a comment below. And if you want to help this channel grow, consider subscribing for weekly videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll hope to see you guys in the next one.